Welcome back. So yes, the 7:30 start again goes to a shootout. It's just kind of the rule. Make the hockey last as long as possible, and it's the only shootout of the night. So it's just weird, strange, bizarre. All right, we'll start things off talking about the Vancouver Canucks and the Philadelphia Flyers. So all the rah in the Vancouver market, taking a bit of a cold shower over the last couple of games. First off, they win the game over Edmonton, which they were outplayed, but that was stolen by DeSmith, and good on them. And tonight, they just didn't have it. So Philadelphia, their home opener. Apparently, it's the fifth time that Vancouver's played the home opener against Philly. They've only won once. And they had Du Hast for the opening. They had Wherever I May Roam for the opening. These are two songs that I am a big fan of. And we had Demko versus Hart in this game. So early jumps for the Flyers. Demko was pretty sharp. Tippett's denied. Demko holds. And then at 1:44, Zamula, a shot that was kind of screened from the point. He scores his first NHL goal, connecting and Lawton with the assist. So not the kind of start Vancouver was looking for on the road. Flyers then look for another. The Canucks press at 3 minutes. Soucy has a shot that's tipped high as they press. There's a near miss for Pettersson. The Flyers clear it out. The Canucks end up drawing a power play. That was killed off. The Canucks press after it's done. The Flyers then get some pressure with 9 minutes left. The shots on net are 6 apiece with 7.5 minutes left. Atkinson has a rush chance that's held. We get some pushing. Then there's a post for Soucy. Garland has his tip shot. That saved. Couturier's denied on a fast break, but he was interfered with as he did so. So it's a penalty shot, and he scores on it. It was nice, too. He backed in and wired it at 17:23. So 2-0 Philadelphia. The Canucks press to respond, but it's still 2-0 after the first period. Second period, early jump again for the Flyers. A net feed to Brink, that's blocked. Delorier's denied on a 3-on-1. Tippett was robbed as the Flyers press. Besser fires one wide as the Canucks get some pressure. Farabee to Brink is blocked. Demko then robs Brink in close. And he's the only reason this score is close at this point. Farabee has a slot shot, that's kicked aside. The Flyers draw a power play. There's a crossbar for Sanheim. That power play's killed off. Things get pushy on a hold by Demko. With 4:06 left, the Flyers get a power play. The Canucks understanding how important it is. It's an aggressive penalty kill, and they do kill it off. It's still 2-0 after 2. Third period, Miller fires one high on a rush. There's a power play for the Flyers. That's killed off. Canucks score, goalie interference challenge, and you could see pretty early, yeah, that one's coming back, and it does. We then end up with 2 minutes of 4-on-4, the game getting kind of chippy. Canucks, I thought, getting more and more frustrated. Brink has a rush chance, that's blocked. We get a power play for the Flyers, that's killed off. Myers has a shot that's blocked as the Canucks press. We then get a power play for Vancouver. There's a shorthanded 2-on-1 chance for Lawton that's saved. They do kill that off. They pull the goalie. They have a power play to close it out, so it's a 6-on-4. They're not able to break the goose egg. Philadelphia wins this one 2-0. 2-1 record for the Flyers now, a 2-1 record for Vancouver as well, and the first time they've played against somebody that's not Edmonton. I did get a chuckle tonight when they were showing Canuck stats and versus opponents this season. I'm like, you don't need to make it multiple, it's singular. But anyways, the shots on net in this one, 11-10 Vancouver in the first, 22-3 Philadelphia in the second, so a bit of trouble with that long change. And then 11-10 Vancouver in the third. Final shots 42-25 for Vancouver. Power plays, the Canucks 0 for 3, Philadelphia 0 for 4. The hits 18-13 Vancouver. Demko saved 40 out of 42. He was excellent. Carter Hart saves all 25 shots for the shutout. So Carter Hart with a shutout at home. He's a good goaltender. I understand there are people who don't think he's a good goaltender, but he is. All right, next up. Minnesota and Montreal. So this is one that could have gone the other way. So what happens here is you have Fleury versus Montembeault. A lot of discussion during this game about how this may be Marc-Andre Fleury's final game in the province of Quebec. He being Quebec-born, of course. So, I mean, it's a pretty big game for him, right? Habs press at 2.5 minutes. They're kept to the outside. The shots are only one apiece 4 minutes in. We then have a crossbar for Brodin. Power play for the Wild. They cycle. Kaprizov's denied. Shot ends up being held. Power play's killed off. Wild press after it's done. Foligno's robbed. And then the Habs get a power play. So what are the Habs going to do? They're going to allow a shorthanded goal. First, it's Duhaime from Middleton at 9:19. It was a 3-on-1 shorthanded rush. And then Dewar. It's another shorthanded rush. He scores at 9:45. And then the Wild finish the kill. So that power play, they score twice during it. and they are Minnesota, who scored twice during Montreal's power play. Rossi then nearly adds one. There's a near miss for Savard on a rush. The shots on net are 11-2 Minnesota with 6.5 minutes left. There's a post for Foligno from in close. The Habs press in the final minute, but after one period of play, it's 2-0 Minnesota. Second period, early Kaprizov shot, that's held. We get a power play for the Wild. It then becomes a minute and 24 seconds of 5-on-3. Crowd's not happy. There was a lot of chanting at the refs going on tonight. So during the 5-on-3, Minnesota scores. Eriksson Ek from Zuccarello and Kaprizov. That's at 2:17. The Habs then kill off the 5-on-4. Wild go back to the power play. That's killed off as well. The shots are 10-0 Wild at 9 minutes. But on their first shot, and only their 6th overall, Montreal gets on the board. It's Pearson at 9:46. So Tanner Pearson with his second goal of the season. It's nice to see him getting his game back in Montreal. We then had a fight between Duhaime and Pezzetta. The Wild press with 7 minutes left. There's a power play for the Habs. It becomes 24 seconds of 4-on-4, meaning it's a power play for Minnesota after, and they score on it as Kaprizov, his first of the season. Zuccarello and Addison with the assists at 17:21. Then with 2 minutes left, the Habs get a power play. Pearson's robbed, the power play's killed off. We get some pushing at the end of the period, and the Wild have a power play to start the third period. So third period, Kovacevic has a net drive, that's denied. Power play's killed off. The Wild go back to the power play. So, yeah, the fans were really not happy at this point. Near miss for Johansson. There's a cycle, and then Eriksson Ek scores at 5 minutes and 20 seconds from Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Shots are 6-5 for the Habs at 8.5 minutes, because I figured there's got to be something positive I can put up there for Montreal. There you go. Mermis then fought Pezzetta. I think Pezzetta won that fight. Not too sure with Duhaime, but sure. The Habs end up with a power play. Caulfield gets robbed. Things are punchy. The Habs are not happy. Everything gets killed off out of all that. And then Newhook scores from Savard and Caulfield at 17:34 to make it a little bit closer. The Habs get a power play in the final 2 minutes. They, like Vancouver, pull the goalie to make it 6-on-4. It doesn't matter. Your final score is 5-2 for Minnesota. They go to 2-1 on the season. Montreal 1-1-1. Shots on net 11-6 Minnesota in the first, 15-9 Minnesota in the second, 14-9 Montreal in the third. Final shots 35-29 for the Habs, or for Minnesota, I should say. Minnesota 3 for 8 on the power play. Montreal 0 for 5. The hits 26-9 Montreal. Fleury saved 27 out of 29. Montembeault saves 30 out of 35. So for Montreal, this is kind of the game that we might have expected between them and Minnesota, but yeah, for Habs fans, it can't make them feel any better. All right, next up, Tampa Bay and the Buffalo Sabres. So Buffalo came into this one winless. Tampa Bay having lost 2 in a row, and here we go. So it's Johansson versus Levi. See, this is where I get thrown off, because some of them have the hard J and some of them don't. And Johansson, the goaltender in Tampa, does not. So post for Greenway on a rush. Meanwhile, Johansson on this team does. So going from one game to the next, it's easier to say Johansson. So there's a post for Greenway on a rush. Point has a rush chance. That's blocked. We get a power play for Buffalo. That becomes a minute and 25 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything's killed off, and then the Bolts press, but on a rush. And with their first lead of this season, Buffalo scores. It's Gergensons from Jost and Samuelson at 8:57. Remember, Tyson Jost in the lineup tonight because they took Olofsson out. And with the result from this, Olofsson probably out the next game as well, I would think. So point gets denied from the slot. The Sabres rush. The Bolts have some momentum, but they need more shots. So they're getting that momentum. They're getting the zone time. They're not getting the shots on net. Pressed by the Bolts with 5 minutes left. But then, from the side of the net, Buffalo makes it 2-0. Skinner, power and tuck with the assist. That's at 15:27, makes it 2-0. And then the Sabres look for another. So some momentum swings going on here. Bolts not getting chances in the second half. Dahlin goes beast mode. We then had a fight between Watson and Gergensons. I didn't see that one coming. Bolts end up with a power play. And so that rolls over into the second period. There's a minute and 8 seconds left in Tampa Bay's power play. Buffalo finishes the kill. Then there's a power play for the Bolts shortly after that. So playing with fire a little bit, but without Stamkos, it really does make a difference. And that power play is killed off. And then there's a power play for the Sabres. That was killed off as well. Kucherov's denied. Levi holds on to that. Tuck had a net feed. That was blocked. Thompson's robbed. Good press by the Sabres that follows that. Benson has a rush chance. That's held. Hedman had a net feed picked off. Perbix defends a 2-on-1 for the Buffalo Sabres. We end up with another power play for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That leads to a shorthanded rush by Thompson. Power play ends up being killed off, but Tampa Bay gets on the board. Hagel buries one from the slot on a turnover. The assist to Jeannot and Cirelli at 17:58. It was Cirelli that forced the turnover behind the Buffalo net. And Hagel gets another one. So he's one of the Tampa Bay Lightning players who's playing very well to start the season and getting goals. Bolts press in the final minute. You can feel that momentum swing. It's still 2-1 Buffalo after 2. Third period. Early press by Tampa. Not that they're getting a lot of shots. Shots on net are 2-1 for the Sabres 3.5 minutes in. Bolts press at 6.5 minutes, but they're kept to the outside. I thought the Sabres were defending well. Hedman has a net feed. That's picked off. There's a power play for the Sabres. Pretty aggressive penalty kill. Cousins has a shot. That's held. Levi was solid when called upon after that penalty kill was done. Bolts press with 7.5 minutes left. There's a near miss then for Skinner as the Sabres press. Goalie pull happens with 1 minute and 50 seconds left. And it really looked like nothing was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, Tampa Bay ties it. Hagel from point and Cirelli tips it in close. 19:53. So there you go. There's your dramatic tension for Tampa. They force overtime. Sabres controlled early. They cycled, and eventually Cousins wires it from the slot to get Buffalo their first victory of the season. Greenway and Dahlin with the assists at 1:46. So with the 3-2 overtime win, Buffalo goes to 1-2. Tampa Bay drops to 1-2-1 early in the season. Shots on net, 11-7 Buffalo in the first, 9-6 Buffalo in the second, 10-9 Tampa in the third. Buffalo had both shots in the overtime, including the winner. Final shots overall, 31-23 for Buffalo. Power plays, Tampa Bay 0-4, Buffalo 0-3. The hits, 20-9 for Tampa Bay. Johansson saved 28 out of 31. Levi saved 21 out of 23. And so for Buffalo, we'll see if they can build on this, get back to 500 in their next game. All right, next up. The Arizona Coyotes and the New York Islanders. This game, it felt like went fast, although it wasn't faster than the other game. It just feels like there was a lot of just time that passed where there were no whistles, and yet it was done about the same time. So anyways, it's Vejmelka versus Sorokin. Bukestad has a shot. That's caught and held. Palmieri couldn't bury one. The Islanders press at 3.5 minutes. We go about 4 minutes without a whistle there. Power play for Arizona. It's a 4-minute power play for Arizona as well. That leads to a shorthanded rush by Cizikas. Michelli to Kerfoot. There's a near miss there. Keller fires one high, and then he clears it out. Power play's killed off. Islanders then get a power play. Horvat to Nelson ends up getting blocked off by the Arizona Coyotes, and they kill that off. Palmieri's denied and close. The next chance for Palmieri nearly scores, but doesn't go in. The Islanders press in the final minute, but after the first period, it is scoreless. Second period, shots are 2-1 for the Coyotes at 3.5 minutes. There wasn't really a lot going on in the game at that point. We then get a power play for the Islanders, and they score on it. It is Barzal from Dobson and Palmieri at 3:47. It did not take long into that power play for them to get that goal. Coyotes then get a power play. That's killed off. The Islanders get another power play. They cycle. Kerfoot clears it out. And that power play is killed off. And then Josh Brown and Pajot were just kind of wrestling at center ice in front of the benches. Nothing. No whistle. Nothing. I love it when referees and linesmen do that. Just whatever. You guys are just going to wrestle and just be stupid. Well, we're just going to leave you there. You guys can be dumb. All your teammates are going to be off doing whatever. So the Islanders press with 8 minutes left. The shots are 9-3 for the Islanders with 5.5 minutes left. The Islanders have a 3-on-2. That gets broken up. Things get punchy on a Coyotes icing, so that makes it 4-on-4 for a while. The Coyotes press to close it out, but after 2 periods, it's 1-0 Islanders. Third period, early jump for the Islanders. Pulock has a shot. That's held. Barzal has a net drive chance. That's held. Shots are 5-0 Islanders, 5.5 minutes in, so that's how you close it out at home. Coyotes press, the Islanders block. Michelli has a chance, that's held. The Coyotes with some momentum. It was a game of momentum swings in this one. Horvat then has a net drive, that's saved. Schmaltz has a shot kicked aside. The Islanders go over 12 minutes in between, or over 11 minutes in between shots. Dobson has a blast that deflects out. Things get pushy with 2:25 left. The goalie pull happens with 1:58 left, but whatever their plan was, doesn't work. Your final score is 1-0 for the Islanders. They go to 2-0 on the season. The Coyotes drop to 1-2. So after that big, emotional shootout victory over the Devils, the last couple of days, things have kind of dropped back into Arizona territory. Shots on net, 11-3 New York in the first, 15-3 New York in the second. Both teams had 8 shots in the third. The final shots, 34-14 for the New York Islanders. Power plays, Arizona 0 for 3. The Islanders 1 for 3. The hits, 23-14 for the Islanders. Vejmelka saves 33 out of 34. Sorokin only needed 14 saves to get the shutout. He's getting shutouts at an extremely fast rate in his career. I figure he's going to pass Brodeur in, 3-4 years. He'll just get 20 shutouts a year. Eventually, he'll catch Brodeur. We'll all act surprised. But the Islanders, the style of hockey they play definitely helps as well. That being said, I need to change boards. All right, well, start of week 2 in the National Hockey League, I get to use the Chunky Soup Campbell magnet that I made. So there you go. The Campbell magnet is on the board, and so is the No Mercy magnet. So what's interesting is this is the second No Mercy game of the year. Both of them have involved the Edmonton Oilers. So it was Campbell versus Saros in this one. The Oilers press. They're not getting shots early. Forsberg's denied from the slot. In fact, the shots are 3-0 Nashville 5 minutes in. Sissons has a shot that's held. McDavid has some passes that are getting picked off. So they're doing a good job of shutting everything down. But then the Oilers get a power play, and this is where they're lethal, and they're lethal here too. Draisaitl scores from Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins at 8-11. Nashville looks to answer. They end up with a power play. Novak has a shot that's held. There's a shorthanded rush by McDavid that doesn't get to the net. That was defended. Good chances, but it's killed off. And then at 13:38, Hyman scores at even strength from Nugent-Hopkins and Bouchard, as Nugent-Hopkins is in for a big day. Oilers look for another. Forsberg's then denied and close at the other end, but then Nugent-Hopkins scores a goal to go with his 2 assists. Fogle and Hyman with the assists on that one at 16:45. We then had a fight between Ernie and Smith. Has Ernie been in a fight before? Anyways, I know it's his first as an Oiler. McDavid then scores from Draisaitl at 17:45 because otherwise it would have been more than a minute between goals, and the Oilers don't allow that. So that makes it 4-0 after the first, and that ended the night for UC Saros. So he becomes the second goaltender pulled this season. The first goaltender pulled this season, Campbell. Now I'm talking about actually being pulled, not for sickness reasons, just being pulled out of the net. So it's just one of those things I'm tracking this year because I figured why not. So second period, Lankinen's in. Early power play for the Preds, and they score. It's Novak from O'Reilly at 2:08. So now it's 4-1. There's lots of time left, right? Now it's a matter of chipping away and making sure you don't allow more goals. Preds go back to the power play. That's killed off. McLeod fires one wide on a 2-on-1. The shots are 7-2 Nashville, 6 minutes into the period. Power play for the Oilers, and they score on it. It's Draisaitl from Bouchard and McDavid at 7:53. It was a face-off win and then a one-timer. Draisaitl, it's one of those things where people would look at this, and this is what we talked about in the offseason, right? Draisaitl just scores on the power play. Yeah, it's a lethal power play that was above 50% tonight, but do go on. So Forsberg's denied in close, and then at 15:27, Fogle scores from Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman. So after the second period, it's 6-1, and Forsberg's name's on the board for being denied over and over and over. Third period, the shots are 1-0 Preds at 2.5 minutes, but you can see the Oilers were sitting back now. They have a 5-goal lead in the third. Evangelista has a slot shot. That gets blocked out. Holloway had a chance. That was held. Parsonen's denied. Kane had a wraparound. That misses. We get a power play for the Oilers. That's killed off. And Sherwood's denied on a 2-on-1, but it was never in doubt. The Oilers win this one 6-1. They're 1-2 on the season. Nashville drops to 1-3 on the season. Shots on net, 15-11 Nashville in the first, 18-14 Nashville in the second, 10-5 Nashville in the third. A trend they've had going for years. If Nashville leads in shots, they lose a lot. 43-30 was the shot total tonight for Nashville. Power plays, Edmonton 2 for 3, Nashville 1 for 3. The hits, 22-20 for the Preds. Campbell, 42 saves on 43 shots. Saros, 7 saves on 11 shots. Lankinen, 17 saves on 19 shots in relief. So the Oilers brought their A game, and it looks like they'll be fine. They just lost back-to-back games to Vancouver. It's the start of the season. All right, next up, LA and Winnipeg. Boy, this was a game that really these teams don't like each other very much. I'm looking forward to the next matchup, which is Let's see. It is not until December 13th. Are they still going to be angry at each other December 13th? We'll find out. It was Talbot versus Hellebuck. Early Kings power play. There's a shorthanded rush by Lowry. That's killed off. Shots on net are actually 3-1 for the Jets 4 minutes in. DeMello has a shot that's held as they press. We get a power play for Winnipeg. Morrissey has a screenshot that's held. There's a crossbar for Morrissey as well, and that's killed off. Appleton has a one-timer denied. Kopitar then a net drive. That was blocked out by Winnipeg's defense. So after the first period, it is scoreless. Second period, early jump for the Kings, and the Kings really started working hard. This was their period of hockey. So Barron's denied and close. The Jets were defending the net well to this point, but the shots start getting out of hand. Shots are 5-1 Kings at 6 minutes. There's a power play for the Kings. They cycle. Kempe, fans on one. They killed it off, but shortly after, Dubois. Moments after the power play's done, Dubois, who got booed every time he touched the puck, he scores from Kopitar and Fiala at 11:01. So he buried that rebound. Then we get a power play for the Jets. Morrissey has a tip shot that's saved. We had a fight between England and Sandberg. Didn't see that coming in. Sandberg took more than he gave in that. Kings with a power play. Ref is told that he sucks, which, I mean, it's fair. But again, when you've got two referees in the game, I just figure the one ref just pretend it's the other ref that they're chanting about. Yeah, he does suck. Look at him. He's a dork. Anyways, so that goes on. Power play's killed off. Things get punchy on a hit the Jets don't like. And really, the game had been ugly since a hit on Perfetti, which the Jets felt should have been penalized. The fans felt it should have been penalized too. And then in close, Moore scores from Dano and Kaliev at 16-19. So that doesn't help. So Kaliev in his first game after serving his suspension, he gets on the board with an assist. Kings look for another, but the Jets press in the final minute. That being said, it wasn't their best period of hockey this season thus far, and they come out of it down by 2. Third period, near miss by Niederreiter in close. Moore beats out an icing, and then Kaliev. Kaliev was wide open in front of the net. Moore with the assist at 2:51. So, really, in all honesty, yeah, somebody had to cover Kaliev there. You can't leave him right in front of your net like that. That's not a good idea. So Kaliev with a goal and an assist. Apparently the suspension was good to him. Anderson rattles Nemesnikov. Nemesnikov was kind of shaking that off on the bench. It was a clean hit. Good forecheck by the Kings. Perfetti has a slot shot. That's saved and cleared. Scheifele's denied as the Jets press. We then get a power play for the Jets. There's a shoulder save on Josh Morrissey. There was a post shorthanded for Moore. Power play's killed off. And then Moore buries one. He top far corner. Beautiful goal. Anderson with the assist at 14:31. So Trevor Moore's off to a good start. Maybe he's in for one of those career years we talk about. Then we get a power play for the Kings, and 7 seconds into it, they scored. So Dano from Byfield at 16:32. Before the announcers can even say, if the Jets kill this off. So at that point, it's 5-0. I get another Cobra Kai magnet ready because 5 goals means it's a no mercy game. But Scheifele saves me a magnet by scoring from DeMello and Nemesnikov at 18:44. And then with 15.5 seconds left, the Kings get a power play. And who cares? Your final score is 5-1 for the Kings. They go to 1-1-1. It's their first win of the season. The Jets drop to 1-2 on the season. Shots on net, 14-9 Winnipeg in the first, 12-4 LA in the second, 9-8 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots, 29-27 for LA. Power plays, the Kings 1 for 5, the Jets 0 for 4. The hits, 23-20 in favor of the Jets. Talbot saved 26 out of 27. Looked much better than he did in his first game with the Kings. Hellebuck, 24 saves on 29 shots. So for the Jets, they've got to get it together. The season goes by very, very quickly once we've got it started. All right, so Colorado. What's interesting to me is Colorado did not play their A game tonight. They absolutely did not. And when you don't play your A game and you come out with 2 points and you're already considered a contender, that's dangerous for the rest of the league. It really is. For Seattle, the absolute sheer frustration might already justify a video, because it's interesting to me to watch a team go through this. So it's Georgiev versus Grubauer in this one. Wenberg has a shot that's gloved aside. McCann nearly tips one in. We then had a fight between O'Connor and Eberle. Remember, Avs are mad at Eberle because of what happened in the playoffs last year. There was a hit they didn't like. Next whistle, we get more punching, because why not? Shots are 3-0 Seattle at 3 minutes. Schwartz is robbed in close. Strong puck pressure by the Avs at this point. The Avs press at 8.5 minutes. Larson blocks. Burakovsky fires one wide on a 2-on-1, and then just chaos in front of the Colorado net leads to a goal. Yamamoto with his first as the member of the Kraken from Dunn and Cartier. That's at 15:09. So it's 1-0 Seattle, and they were full value for it. Nichushkin then has a shot that deflects high. Drouin has a shot that's held. We get the Gru chant from the crowd. 12.4 seconds left. The Kraken with a power play. So that rolls over to the second period. The Avs finished the kill. Now, Nichushkin started that game on the first line. He got dropped down to the second line. They put Drouin back on the first line, and it worked. Lehkonen scores at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Buries a loose puck to make that happen. Nichushkin back on the line with Lehkonen. You could see it worked right away. The game's tied at 1. We then have a power play for the Avs. There's a shorthanded rush chance by McCann. That's saved. Power play's killed off. We then had a power play for Seattle. Eberle's denied early. The rebound's held. It's killed off, so Seattle gets another. And then it's a shorthanded goal. It's O'Connor from Makar and Taves at 11 minutes and 50 seconds. It's a shorthanded breakaway, and it's buried. So that's 2 shots and 2 goals for the Avs. They had shots exactly 8 minutes apart, goals 8 minutes apart, and so there's some luck involved and some skill involved in the fact you get 2 goals on 2 shots. So we have a shorthanded Lehkonen chance. That's held. Power play is killed off. Then we get a power play for the Avs. They cycle. Makar's denied. That's killed off. Cartier with a near miss on a 3-on-2 for Seattle. Larson had a rush chance saved, and then Gord's denied in the final minute. So going into the third, it's 2-1 for Colorado. Third period, the Avs press early, made it clear they want this win on the road. We get a power play for Seattle. Beniers had a shot that was blocked. That power play's killed off. Dunn then had a shot that was caught and held. The shots are 4-2 for the Avs at 8 minutes. So Seattle with a ton of shots in those first 2 periods, and in the third, the Avs made it a lot more difficult on them. Kraken press at 8.5 minutes. Larson had a net drive kicked aside, and then Rantanen. Goal scorer you don't want getting the puck. He does. He scores. Girard and Cogliano with the assists at 13:45, and then the Avs press for more. McKinnon with the net drive. That's blocked with 3:35 left. We get 4-on-4. So Seattle figures we'll pull the goalie, make it 5-on-4, which means Nichushkin hits the empty net at 16:46, and the Avs win this game 4-1. They go to a perfect 3-0-0 on the season. Seattle drops to a sad 0-3-1, and again, they cannot score. They're just not getting goals. Shots on net in this one, 16-9 Seattle in the first, 14-5 Seattle in the second, and then 14-8 Colorado in the third. Final shots 38-28 for the Kraken. Power plays 0-2 for Colorado, 0-4 for Seattle. Hits 20-11 for Seattle. Georgiev saves 37 out of 38. Grubauer saved 24 out of 27. So the former Colorado Avalanche goalie loses against Colorado tonight. And so, the Avs win one that maybe through 2 periods they didn't deserve, but in the third they did lock it down pretty well. All right, next up. Carolina and San Jose. Now, I was convinced this was going to go to a shootout because it's a San Jose 7:30 start. But hey, you've got this one right here. Why not? So it's Anderson versus Blackwood. Natchez and Teravainen get denied. The Canes with the early edge, but on their first shot, San Jose scores. It's Zetterlund from Hurdle at 3 minutes and 14 seconds. We then had a power play for the Canes. They score on it at 4:06. It's Jarvis from Bunting and Teravainen. Jarvis burying a rebound. He may be in for a big year as well. Sharks then get a power play, and Anderson takes a puck right off the top of the mask. He didn't see it coming, so he wasn't braced for it. And it knocked him into kind of that state that you see a player go into when it could be a concussion. He gets sent to the quiet room, and you could tell, you could read lips behind the bench that Rod Brindamore saying so he's going to the room. So understanding what's going on, obviously, as the coach puts Ranta in, and Anderson did not return. So this is where it's a really good thing for Carolina that they have Kochetkov. So between Kochetkov and Ranta, if Anderson needs a week off or something, you can do that. You have 2 other goaltenders. So Ranta comes in, and they finish killing off that power play, which is important. Martinook's then denied on a 2-on-1, and Zadina just snapped after taking a hit he didn't like. So he ends up going to the box. Honestly, there were 3 different things. I called a slash, a rough, and an interference on the play. I was like, they could have called 6 minutes and penalties on Zadina there. Because he just snapped, and I'm like, that's they wanted to, they could. They don't. It's 2 minutes. I don't think fans would take it very well if a player got penalized for everything they did leading to a penalty. I think fans would hate that, so I'm not suggesting it. I'm just counting the penalties on the guy. So the Canes get that power play, but the Sharks kill it off. Their penalty kill coming into tonight, I'm pretty sure was still perfect. Canes press after it ends, and they press again with 2.5 minutes left. But after the first period, it's 1-1. And it didn't feel like it should be because San Jose's getting outshot by a ratio of more than 3-1. So second period, Ronta's still in because, of course, Anderson's not coming back. Early Canes power play, that's killed off, just the one shot. Canes press at 5 minutes. Power play is drawn by the Canes during some of that pressure. Jarvis couldn't bury one, it's cleared out. We then get 28 seconds of 4-on-4. Then it's the Sharks power play, and during that power play, Slavin with a shorthanded goal. Is Carolina on pace for like 90 shorthanded goals? It feels like a lot. At 8:52. But San Jose gets that back. They get the power play marker, and it's Zadina from Zetterlund. He must have heard me because when he was still skating around, even after taking that penalty, he seemed to be kind of agitated. And I was like, if you really want to get him back, score a goal. And I was thinking if David Quinn pulls him aside and says, look, if you're mad, go to the net, score a goal. And he does. So I'll just say I through the television, I projected my voice, didn't. Anyways, we get a power play again for the Sharks. That's killed off, but they get another. So this is just where you're giving them too many opportunities. They score on this one. It was a bit of a Sharks bounce off the boards to get there, but Eklund gets the goal from Thrun and Hurdle at 16:06. So suddenly San Jose is the lead in a game they don't have business really being in the lead with if you've been watching just the chances. Blackwood looks like he's going to steal one tonight. So there's a goalie interference challenge for that one. Did it succeed? No, I've still got the goal on the board. So San Jose goes right back to the power play after getting 2 power play goals in a little less than 7 minutes of time there. So there's a shorthanded chance for Stahl. He fires high, but he draws a penalty, so it becomes 4-on-4 for a minute 21 seconds. Then we get 16 seconds of a 4-on-4. It's the Sharks power play because we're doing the penalty parade thing. And so going into the third period, there's 30 seconds left in the Sharks power play. The Canes do kill that off. Sharks press after it's done. Ferraro has a fast break opportunity. That's saved. We then hit a power play for the Canes because that's what this game was about, power plays, and they score on it. It's Nason from Kotkaniemi and Shea at 9:08. Canes then press for the lead. They get another power play, and they score on it. Very uncharacteristic for San Jose's penalty kill. Jarvis from Burns and Natchez at 11:51. So now they've got a lead, and they add to it. 3 minutes later exactly, Natchez with a wraparound on a rush. That was just filthy. Bunting with the assist, he just teed it up. Like, yep, go ahead. And then at 15:08, so seconds later, Kotkaniemi scores from Pesce and Nason. So your final score is 6-3 in this one. Because once it was a 3-goal lead, it's not like San Jose's pulling the goalie. Carolina goes to 3-1. They have to feel a little bit just satisfied with the fact that they haven't played a full 60-minute game during this swing through California. They still come out with 3 points. And then for San Jose, of course, they're 0-2-1 with the loss. So San Jose still seeking their first win of the season. Shots on net, 18-5 Carolina in the first, 12-6 Carolina in the second, 12-5 Carolina in the third. Final shots, 42-16 for Carolina. Power plays, 3 for 7 for Carolina, 2 for 6 for San Jose. Hits, 9-6 in favor of San Jose. Not a hitting game. Anderson saved 1 of the 2 shots he faced. Ronta saved 12 of the 14 he faced. Blackwood saves 36 out of 42 at the other end. So once those goals started going in, it's not Blackwood's fault. It's just what he did against Colorado. It is really difficult to do that on multiple nights. So, yeah, that game's done. Next up, last up, is Dallas and Vegas. So one of the 7:30 starts had to go to a shootout, right? It's the only shootout of the night. So I don't track that. Maybe I should. Anyways, it's Ottinger versus Hill. Hintz back in the lineup for Dallas. He doesn't get on the board, but it was nice to see him out there penalty killing. Johnston has a rush chance. That's held. The Stars press at 4 minutes. Amadio hits the outside of the net on an opportunity while Vegas is pressing. Shots are 3-2 for Dallas at 6.5 minutes. We then get rush chances for both teams. Robertson had a wraparound chance. That's held. The game settles down a bit, and we stop seeing that offensive room for either team. VGK press with 4.5 minutes left. Eichel had a rush chance. That was blocked. There's a crossbar for COL-SEA. 2:02 left. Vegas gets a power play. It then becomes a minute and 31 seconds of 4-on-4. Marchessault given a penalty, and loudly as the microphone picks him up, a couple of F-bombs in there. Probably not very happy with the call. didn't seem to be very happy. If you look at the replay, it's a penalty. I mean, early in the season especially. But anyways, the ref is told that he sucks at this point because how else is he going to know? Duchesne has a slot shot that's held, and after the first period, it's scoreless. I just picture a referee sitting in their room in between periods just crying. Did you hear them? They said I suck. No, Earl, you're the best referee we have. That's not what they told me. That's not what they said. Anyways, second period, Vegas finishes the kill. We then had a fight between Ben and Haig because that's two 14s, and probably I'm the better 14. I'm the better 14. That's how I picture the fight starting. Power play for Vegas, that's killed off, and then Craig Smith, he scores from Sagan and Harley at 5:52. He buries a rebound in front of the net. It's 1-0 Dallas. Power play for the Stars. Robertson has a chance. That's caught and held. Stars press at the half. Momentum for Dallas, but it's only 1-0. And I know how it works with Vegas. If they're down late in the third period, they win. This has been the storyline. If they're not getting shots, they're really going to win. So Stars are throwing hits. Things are pushy on a hold by Hill. Korczak ends up scoring to tie the game from Howden and Carlson at 13:02. So it's 1-1. And you know Vegas just does not tend to allow teams to get away from them. Doesn't allow 2-goal leads or anything, right? So tying the game didn't really surprise me. So it was bar down from a distance. We then had a fight between Marchment and Hutton. Vegas then looks for the lead. We get a blocker save on a rush by Eichel. Theodore's denied on a rush. 1:55 left. Vegas gets a power play, and then it becomes 1 minute and 29 seconds of 5-on-3. So that's not ideal. So Dallas holds on a little bit. And then we only had 5 seconds left of the 5-on-3 to start the third period. So Dallas kills all that off. And then Pavelski at 2 minutes and 50 seconds scores from Hintz. So Dallas is suddenly in the lead on the road. Johnston's denied on the next shift. Then there's a press by Vegas, but they're kept to the outside. They didn't get very many shots at this point in the game. They don't need very many shots. There's a near miss for Stevenson on a one-timer, and then Carlson tips one in. There was no chance on that one for Ottinger. I think they said that was their second shot in 11 minutes. Korczak and Stone with the assist. That's at 17:01. And then Vegas pressed for the lead. They did try to get the lead, but we're going to overtime. Sagan's denied on a turnover opportunity he had early. That was the only shot Dallas managed in the overtime. Theodore's denied on a 3-on-1. Stars had a 2-on-1. That misfired, didn't get to the net. We're going to the shootout. In the shootout, your game winner is on the stick of Jonathan Marchessault. So the Conn Smythe winner gets the shootout winner, and your final score is 3-2 in a shootout. So Vegas goes to 4-0 to start the season. That's the second time they've done that in their short history. Dallas, this is the second game they've gone to a shootout. This time they lose. The first game they won over St. Louis. Maybe Dallas should just start in the shootout. At any rate, the shots 9-6 Dallas in the first, 12-9 Vegas in the second, 12-7 Dallas or Vegas in the third, and Vegas outshoots Dallas 4-1 in the overtime. They outshot Dallas 34-26. Power plays 0 for 2 for Dallas, 0 for 4 for Vegas. Hits actually ended up being 40-17 for Vegas. The hits woke him up too. Ottinger saves 32 out of 34. He was fantastic. Aiden Hill was very good as well. 24 saves on 26 shots. It was an entertaining night. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.